Hey there, scientists. Caroline here. Have you ever seen a pigeon wearing a backpack? It might sound like something out of a cartoon, but it's actually a real innovation. In some cities, scientists have equipped pigeons with tiny air quality sensors, basically pollution detecting backpacks, to help monitor the air we breathe. Why pigeons? Because they fly through the same spaces we live and work in, giving researchers valuable data on what's floating around in our air. Pretty cool, right? It's just one example of how creative solutions are helping us tackle the problem of air pollution in ways you might not expect. In today's lesson, we'll explore why air quality still matters, how innovation can help us keep the air clean, and what you can do to make a difference. Ready, scientists? Let's get started. Earlier in this unit, we learned that air pollution can have serious effects on both human health and the environment. Do you remember what some of them are? Pause and record as many as you can think of in your guided notes. Air pollution can cause or worsen respiratory illnesses, damage ecosystems, and even harm crops and wildlife. During the 1950s and 60s, high air pollution levels drove public demand for action. This led to one of the most important environmental laws in U.S. history, the Clean Air Act of 1970. The Clean Air Act set national standards for controlling pollutants from major sources like vehicles and factories. Many pollutants dropped by more than 70%, even as the population and economy continued to grow. It was a major win for public health and the environment, and it might be tempting to assume that the problem of air pollution was solved. But while the Clean Air Act was a huge success, it wasn't a one-time fix. One of its most powerful features is that it requires regular updates based on the latest scientific evidence. This means that as technology and industries change, our air quality goals can evolve to adapt to those changes. And we've learned a lot since the Clean Air Act was first passed. Despite decades of progress, air pollution is still a major threat. It contributes to about 5% of premature deaths in the US and about 10% of premature deaths worldwide. These numbers remind us that air quality is not a finished issue. It's an ongoing challenge that still needs our attention. As human populations grow and urban areas expand, the pressure on our air quality increases. More vehicles, construction, energy use, and manufacturing can all add to the problem. That's why it's more important than ever to monitor air pollution and make smart decisions about how we use resources. Innovations in technology, public policy, and even personal habits can help us move in the right direction. By staying alert and committed, we can ensure that our air remains clean, not just for ourselves, but for future generations. As human populations increase, what do you think happens to energy use? It goes up. And how do you think this impacts air pollution? You guessed it, air pollution increases. Much of our energy still comes from fossil fuels, which release pollutants like particulate matter and carbon dioxide into the air. But here's something important to remember. Using more energy doesn't have to mean creating more air pollution. As we discussed earlier in this course, there are cleaner, renewable sources of energy that don't release air pollutants. By gradually switching to these cleaner energy sources, such as solar and wind power, we can keep up with energy demands for a growing population without worsening air quality. This shift isn't just possible, it's already happening in many places around the world. And human population growth doesn't just impact our energy use. As more people crowd into urban spaces, we need more buildings to house them. Take New York City, for instance. How do you think all of these tall buildings impact airflow? In many urban areas, buildings are packed closely together, creating urban canyons where polluted air can get trapped. Luckily, there are a few strategies we can use to improve airflow and reduce air pollution in cities. One of these strategies is wind tunnels. These are open pathways built into city designs to allow air to flow freely and carry pollution away, improving outdoor air quality in even the most crowded neighborhoods. But airflow isn't the only way cities are tackling pollution. Take a look at this city. What do you notice? There are a lot of green spaces, trees, parks, even gardens on rooftops. These green spaces don't just look nice, they help trap pollutants and release oxygen. Innovations like rooftop gardens and tiny forests are helping urban areas filter out pollution right where people live and work. Urban design can also include smart technology. For example, smart traffic lights help reduce the time cars spend idling at red lights. This may sound small, but cutting down on idle time means fewer emissions from car exhaust, a major source of urban air pollution. Even something as simple as the paint used on outdoor structures can make a surprising impact. Airlight paint, for example, reacts with sunlight to purify the air, like a built-in filter on city walls. All of these strategies, clean energy, smart design, green spaces, and innovative technology, might seem different at first, but they all have one important thing in common. They show that we can make intentional choices to prioritize clean air, both in our local communities and for the planet as a whole. Air pollution isn't just a problem to react to. It's a challenge we can actively solve by using science, creativity, and thoughtful planning. But here's something important to remember. You don't have to wait for a law or invention to take action. Next up, let's look at some personal strategies for improving air quality. Scientists, think about the solutions we've talked about in this lesson. Using these as inspiration, what are some everyday choices you can make to improve air quality? Pause here and record your thoughts in your guided notes. Let's look at 3 personal strategies you can start using right away. The first is to choose cleaner transportation. Cars and trucks are some of the biggest contributors to air pollution, especially in cities. While you might not be able to drive yet, your transportation choices still matter. Can you walk or bike instead of riding in a car? Can your friends or family carpool or use public transportation more often? Each trip taken without a gasoline-powered vehicle reduces emissions and helps keep the air a little cleaner. The second strategy is to reduce energy waste at home. Most of the electricity we use still comes from fossil fuels. So when we waste energy, we're also indirectly adding to air pollution. Remember the energy-saving tips we discussed earlier in this course? To reduce waste, turn off lights and electronics when you're not using them. Unplug chargers that aren't in use, and encourage your family to use energy-efficient appliances and LED bulbs. The third strategy to help improve air quality? Get informed and take action. The more you understand about air quality, the more power you have to protect it. Share what you've learned with others, at home, in your community, or even online. You could help plant trees, start a small garden, or support local efforts to improve public transportation. Every time you make a clean air choice, whether it's riding a bike, flipping off a switch, or talking about pollution, you're contributing to a healthier world. Just like with the big solutions we explored earlier, it all starts with a decision to prioritize clean air. And with that, we've wrapped up our lesson about improving air quality. While we've made meaningful progress over the years, there's still important work ahead to keep our air clean and safe. Innovation continues to play a key role through solutions like renewable energy, green urban planning, and smart technologies that reduce pollution at the source. But don't forget, individual choices matter too. Whether you're choosing cleaner transportation, cutting back on energy use at home, or simply spreading awareness, your actions can make a real and lasting difference. I'm Caroline, and remember, the air we breathe is a resource we all share. Every choice we make can help keep it clean, so don't underestimate the impact you can have. Stay observant, keep asking questions, and I'll see you next time.
Hey!